So Sunday, Joe Biden pardoned his son Hunter for, well, hell, we know he pled guilty to what, gun charges, and was about to go to trial or be sentenced for some tax evasion charges. And Joe Biden just did a whole blanket 11-year window of pardoning of his son and tried to explain it, but leave it to the view to try to, try to explain as to why he actually did it. And they did a terrible job. Well, let's go ahead and debunk all this.
Throughout his term as president, Joe Biden was persistently asked about whether he would intervene in the court case against his son, Hunter. Take a look.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no. And I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
Now you saw the dates on those statements when that lady, whatever, John Pierre and President Biden were asked about him pardoning his son. You saw the dates go back to 2013, well, 2023, I'm sorry, all the way up to not even a month ago. And they said, no, he will not pardon his son. And yet, just a day or so ago, he does exactly that.
Yesterday, Biden had a change of heart, granting his son a full pardon on tax evasion and federal gun charges. He released a statement that, quote, says no reasonable person who looks at the facts can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out because he is my son. That is wrong, and there's no reason to believe it will stop here. Now, I hope America...
Let me interrupt Whoopi right quick. Unfortunately, Joe Biden, and I'm sure he understands this because he's been in politics pretty much all his life, which means that his kids have been a part of politics all of their lives. You get privilege, and you got to take the good and bad when you're a public figure. If you want all the praise, this is one reason why the scriptures say, when it talks about preachers and deacons, that you can't have any blemish on your record, whether it's you or anyone in your family, because you're held to a higher court, a higher level than everybody, than just the average everyday person. So yeah, if I or someone I know or whoever, if a regular person gets caught cheating or stealing or lying on taxes and stuff like that, it won't be a big deal. But when your name is out there, people are watching you. They're watching you and they're going to scrutinize you more because they're putting you on a higher pedestal, which means that you for sure, definitely cannot do anything egregious. You got to keep yourself in check, keep your wife in check, keep your kids in check. Because if anything happens, the people are going to come at you 100, 1,000 times harder. So for him to say this and acting like he's shocked about it, no, it ain't nothing to be shocked about because you chose that life.
Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision. So the question is, will people understand?
No, a father would come to this decision, but not the president, because you're at, like I say, you're at a higher position. You are like the leader of the free world. You have to set precedents. That's why when folks are asking you, would you pardon your son? You emphatically said no. And you had your press secretary say no multiple times because it's not going to look good if you do that. But your son is grown. What is he, like in his 40s or 50s? Your son is grown. What? Never mind. Let me continue.
Listen, I get it. I mean,
hold on. Now, this is The View, and you know what their viewpoint is. So don't be surprised at what Whoopi and these other ladies are about to say.
We got a convicted felon as president.
Yeah.
Yes. It's hard for me to.
And the crowd claps. Like they didn't want to clap, but they wanted a reason to see it Joe Biden's way, so they had to bring Trump into it. Before we get too deep in this video, remember what Michelle Obama said in one of her speeches. When she was saying, I think it was when Trump either first was getting into the office or was in office or it was run again, and she said something to the point that when they go low, we don't go low, we go higher. Remember that. We go higher.
Right. And
Introducing the Anchor Prime charging station.
and I know that who's been asking, are you going to pardon the January 6th folks? Actually, probably not. But I kind of feel like I look at the list of folks that who pardoned during the first term. He granted 237 acts of clemency, 143 pardons, and 94 commutations, including Michael Flynn, Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, Charles Kushner, Steve Bannon, George Papadopoulos, Albert Pirro, and Lil Wayne. Everybody.
What about Lil Wayne?
Yeah. And Lil Wayne. So it is a president's prerogative. People can say, why are you doing that? But that's what presidents do.
And so here's another issue I have with this. People always, like I said, they want to compare Donald Trump to Joe Biden, but Donald Trump is the evil man, the boogeyman. Joe Biden and the Democrats are like the good witch of the West or the East or whatever the hell she's from. But yet you are talking about the bad things that Trump did, but yet you turn around and do the same things. You're talking about the things that you're afraid that he's gonna do, but yet you turn around and do the exact same thing yourself. And all you can say is, well, Trump did. But again, you're supposed to be better than Trump. If what he does is so egregious, you're supposed to be better than Donald Trump, right? So why in the heck are you stooping to his level? I don't get it. And I'm sure you don't get it either. But I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Every time. They do it every time they pardon somebody. So I'm not sure why the pearl clutching is happening now, except that that's what folks want to do. But it seems kind of foolish. You kind of knew he was going to do it, given all that's happened, but maybe I'm just kooky.
So I see this one a little bit differently, and some of you know this, but I grew up with an immediate family member who was in and out of jail.
Listen to this voice of reason and watch the response she gets from the audience.
For addiction-related offenses when I was growing up, and now a decade later, clean, have their life together, serve their time, are still dealing with the consequences. Inability to vote at time, paying restitution, working to get your record expunged, not being able to be eligible for certain employment. Most Americans, if they face consequences for actions that they took, they're going to have to face them, and nobody powerful and politically connected is going to come sweep in and save them. And I think, this feeds the notion to a lot of this country that there's simply a different set of rules for folks in power. And when we sit here and we say a lot like, well, Donald Trump did X, Y, and Z, and how did he get elected? Because to a lot of this country, it just becomes noise. They think that if you commit crimes and somebody powerful and connected in D.C., right, left, center, Biden, Trump, you're going to be able to get away with it if you have someone on your side. And that's not how it is for everyday folks. Secondly, I take issue with lying about it. I wanted to ask him here when he came on The View, but the thought was he said so many times he wasn't going to pardon him. That to me is lying to the public. I felt bad for Karine Jean-Pierre that she repeatedly had to say that he wasn't going to pardon him. This is why people don't trust Washington. That's why they don't trust politicians. And I know a lot of us like Joe Biden, but I find it disappointing and bad for our institutions.
Well, look, I think sometimes, unfortunately, in this country, there are two sets of justice. Right? I, too, have many family members convicted of felonies, marijuana, related to marijuana. They haven't been able to get positions in certain
you can blame Kamala Harris for that one.
places. They haven't even been able to get housing in certain places. When I applied to be a federal prosecutor, there was a checkbox. If you're a felon, explain the circumstances, and you were more than likely not to get that. Now, as Whoopi said, that we have a convicted felon in the White House.
And that's going to get overturned. So y'all, that's going to be a talking point that y'all going to have to get rid of pretty soon.
Those questions should not be asked of anyone, anytime, anywhere.
Well,
that is the bottom line. Or earnings seem to be changed. The other thing is, Trump did escape responsibility for all his crimes. He's nominating Charles Kushner, who he pardoned, as you mentioned, as the ambassador to France. Do you know what a nice, cushy job that is that any felon would like? And, so please, with the hypocritical pearl clutching by this country, Eric Holder, I think, said it really well. No U.S. attorney would have charged this case given the underlying facts that have been investigated for 5 years. Less than, get this, 0.09% of people are indicted, prosecuted, charged, and found guilty of lying on a gun form.
Again, the point I made was their position makes them sitting targets. That's just how it is. That's just like how life is. No matter whether you like it or not, care if it's 0.10% 6 of whatever charged with gun charges, everybody who's filed a false tax return has not been charged. Maybe like a small few of them. It's people that's owed thousands. Hell, what was it like saying? Like hundreds, like 700 people working for the IRS owe like millions of dollars in taxes, which average like anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000 per person. But yet they're still working for the IRS and they're not in jail. But yet Wesley Snipes and what's the name? Ronald Isley both went to jail for tax evasion. You know what I'm saying? And I think Wesley Snipes went to jail and he paid his taxes, but for some reason wrote something wrong. I think it said he paid more taxes than he owed, and he still end up getting, getting found guilty and going to jail for tax evasion. So again, it's about, like I say, it's about him being like on Front Street, being seen, high profile. Yes, like I say, yes, the eyes are going to be on you harder. So you can't compare the president of the United States and his family to me and my family. Just can't do it.
Only reason that Hunter Biden was gone after and charged, indicted, and found guilty was because his name wasn't Joe Smith, it was Hunter Biden. And that's the truth of it.
Hold up, but he wasn't found guilty. The man pled guilty. Get that straight.
Holder saying it. You've got former prosecutors like myself saying it. So,
Wait.
Wait.
I think one of the reasons why he didn't admit it earlier was because he didn't know that the felon in chief would become the next president. Let me let Anna speak.
So, I actually talked to Joe Biden about this. When he was on the show, I told him I hoped he pardoned Hunter.
I remember.
You did. I remember.
I went to speak at the Biden Institute in Delaware like a month later, and we talked on the phone, and I told him I hoped he pardoned Hunter. I left him a handwritten note at his desk at the University of Delaware and told him I hoped he pardoned Hunter. And the reason I thought it was important is because I wanted him to hear from people who support him and respect him, which I do, that some of us, I'd say most of us, think it's okay for him to pardon Hunter because of what you just said, that so many of the people who committed this crime do not get prosecuted. Imagine the guilt that Joe Biden has to live with, thinking that his son, his only surviving son, is getting prosecuted because he is his son. I want to say that Charlie Kushner, the guy, Jared's dad, who was pardoned by Trump, he was convicted of witness tampering, among many other things. And Chris Christie, Republican, who prosecuted him at the time, said it was one of the most loathsome, disgusting crimes he prosecuted in more than a decade. Look, he hired a hooker, set up his his brother-in-law with the hooker, and sent the photos to his sister to intimidate her into not testifying. I'll say this. Hunter, your dad has given you a great, great gift, the gift of freedom and taking this weight off your shoulders.
Yeah.
I I hope now Hunter gives his dad a gift. The gift of being a good son, a good father, a good grandfather, a good human being,
But can I
leading a
ask a
productive
question?
life. Can I finish? And staying clean for the rest of his life. So I hope that this goes both ways.
I'll tell you what the problem with this is. Hunter Biden is a grown man. He has been living this life all his life. The odds, and you always want people to change for the better, right? I get that. But the odds of him staying clean and not doing anything else. I mean, hell, he's a damn dope fiend. Okay. Everybody knows and believes, well, let's say they believe, speculated that he brought that the powdery substance that was found in the White House was his. But usually people don't get it. They do not get it. I understand that Joe Biden's other son passed away. I don't know what it was from, but you got one son left. And you want to give your son all the, all the opportunities that, allowed it. I get it. I understand the nepotism. You understand me? Oh, and with that being said, I don't want to hear anybody say anything about like LeBron James upset that his son is in the NBA, dude, or Ice Cube's son is acting, played him in the Straight Outta Compton movie. That is really, we sit here and we as black people get on our own folk for doing what them folk do, but they do it, and people like Whoopi and On the View, they want to try to justify it. That why, how nepotism is okay in this situation. Well, like I said, it's not, because of the position. And when you are the president of the United States or leading the whole country, you have a duty to your country first and your family second, which is why it's always pretty much better, probably, to when you're in a higher position, probably not to have family. Because when things go down, you got to think one way, and it's country first. And remember, they said he was so patriotic because he stepped down and allowed Kamala Harris to, to run for president. But this is not patriotic. This is selfish.
Understand two things, because I respect it as a parent. I understand why he would do it, but I wonder to understand why lie about it for so long.
I'd stop calling it a lie.
Okay, why
Hold on, Whoopi. And this lets me know right here. Oh, I sure want to hit this point here. Whoopi, it was a lie. And as a matter of fact, let me see if I can't find this. Where is this said? I might do a whole video on this later. Oh, but this is from the dailymail.com, and it reads, Biden privately considered pardon for Hunter 6 months ago, but denied it in public. I'm going to put a link to this in the description box for sure. It said President Joe Biden promised the American people for years that he would not move to pardon his son Hunter, despite multiple lawsuits against him. But after going back on his word Sunday night, multiple reports emerged detailing how Biden was considering a pardon for months after Hunter's conviction in a federal gun case over the summer. While it's being reported that Biden made the decision at Mass on Saturday, two people with direct knowledge of the discussion told NBC News that the president was discussing the pardon with close aides as early as Hunter's conviction was handed down on June 11th of 2024. The individual said a decision was made for Biden to publicly state he would not pardon his 54-year-old son, even though he still privately weighed the options. So, Whoopi, it was a lie. He was planning on pardoning his son or talking about it months ago.
They say you're not going to, and you do. And secondarily, for the part of this country, half of it that doesn't support Biden, doesn't know him personally, doesn't get to have phone calls, and they're just looking at a system that seems like it only benefits the people who are in power.
I'm going to say,
what precedent does that set?
Well, here's what it says. It's a precedent for all of us to open our eyes, because we've elected someone who is in a similar situation.
Bringing in Trump, man. This ain't got nothing to do with Trump. This is all about Biden and his high standard of democracy that they try to sit there and put on us, make us think that the Democratic Party is this holier than thou party, and that we are all evil, selfish, and evil and devils for voting Donald Trump in. When, like I said before, I said it many times, Biden ain't no different. They're all the same. So when you get off of that, who's more evil than the other, who's more racist than the other, and this, that, and the third. Once you get off of that, now let's talk about policies. That is what politics is supposed to be about.
Who didn't have a drug problem, who knew what he was doing, who clearly stood and said, I can do this. And he did it. So I think, for many, many reasons, this is very different than any other situation that we have ever dealt with. Because when we're talking about who gets a pardon and who doesn't get a pardon, this man, I think Biden had no intentions of pardoning Hunter.
I'm sorry. Then hold on. Let me go back and read it again. DailyMail.com reads, Biden privately considered pardon for Hunter 6 months ago, but denied it in public. So he was thinking about this at least 6 months ago. Considered it. Now I don't know if you want to say he did. No, he considered it but didn't do it. But he was when he was asked, did he consider it or was thinking about it? He was like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna go with the decision of what the judge and jury comes up with against his son. And apparently he lied about it.
And I think the more stuff that went down, I think he said, well, why am I busting my behind to stay straight and to do this?
Yeah, see, look at her face, same as mine. That was an emotional answer. And I expect that from The View and their audience. That's an emotional answer, which is one reason why people don't want to see a woman running the country, because we do, especially liberal, because we don't want decisions made from emotion. Because emotional decisions, most of the time, will cause more harm than good. But hey, at least you won, right? But like I say, do you want to win or do you want to be right? And these people, they rather win than be right.
When nobody else is, when no one else is
win. I think he thought he was going to win, and I
think
just wish he would have been honest.
He said he wasn't going to pardon him even after he lost. But I think what happened in the meantime that we have to, be cognizant of, is that Donald Trump campaigned on retribution, vindictiveness, and vengeance.
He's done it for 4 years.
Like I said, Trump gonna tell you what he's about. If what she's saying is true, he's gonna tell you what he's about. He ain't gonna lie about it. He ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Say, look, this is what's gonna happen if I get in. So be ready. And people put him in. Unlike, say, Joe Biden sat there and lied about his son and lied about others. So remember, backbone of the Democratic Party, black people, and I got your back. You had my back. Oh, I'm gonna talk to Ice Cube once we get in the office. Didn't do that. Did nothing for black folks. Did stuff for everybody else. Man, come on.
He has appointed people who to law enforcement positions that have said we are here for retribution and vindictiveness. So Joe Biden could not leave Hunter, his only son, at the mercy of these people who are saying they're going to take retribution.
He is also, and look, he's the president, the sitting president, and he can do whatever he wants to until his time is up.
I don't like the president. Donald Trump's about to be president.
Well, that's what the
presidency should be bigger than his feelings.
It should be, but it is
a very small man.
I can't believe that this is what's freaking people out. That this is the thing that says, oh well, see,
precedents.
It does, but I'm noticing the man who would not normally be able to even vote for president is the president.
Because people don't
but it's you know what? It's good for the goose. It's good for the gander. He did what he did.
Anyway, like I say, The View. Hey, they failed miserably trying to prove or make a point as to why Joe Biden should have pardoned his son. I'm sorry. You're the president of the United States. You got to set precedents. If you don't like Trump so much, you know how this is going to mess up for the Democrats. So Joe Biden's going to go out. This is going to tarnish his legacy, no matter what you think. Trump is going to be the president. Once his term is over and it's time to get ready to elect another president, and J.D. Vance is probably going to be in the front runner in the Republican Party, the Democrats are going to have to come up with somebody or find somebody to run against him. One of the key things that we're going to remember is, well, the last time the Democrats were in party, they talked about Donald Trump, but they did the exact same things that they were saying that he was going to do. But yet they were supposed to be, like I say, the more holier than thou party. So how are we going to trust them now? Because something that we always tell people, if I'm dealing with two people, let's say I'm dealing with two races, I'd rather deal with the one that's going to tell me what he's going to do than the one who's going to lie about it and then turn around and do the exact same thing that the other person is going to do, because at least if somebody tells me what he's going to do, I can prepare for it. I know how to deal with it. Just like art of war type thing. But if somebody's being conniving and it's supposed to be for the people, can't deal with it. So that's where your problem is, Whoopi and The View and the rest of y'all. Your president is conniving. He's a liar. I've already told y'all the dude, we know he's a racist. We know he was mentored by a racist. We know he did a eulogy for a racist. We know he called, help usher in the 94, the crime bill that put a bunch of our people in prison for like drug use and this and the third. And where now you got these white folk that are on like heroin and opioids. Now it's like a mental condition and you want to give them help. But when it was us, put them in prison. Not that they were selling it, but because they were smoking it, put them in prison. Call us predators, saying that you got kids who grew up, out of wedlock with no parents, and 15 years from now, they're going to be predators. But your son grew up with both parents, well-to-do, in politics, and he's a dope fiend. So he was pretty much really the predator. But anyway, that's all I got for this story, man. Hey, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below, share it with the world. Let's have an intelligent conversation. Hey, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those 4 things cost you nothing, but maybe a couple of minutes out your day, but it means the world to us here. Hey, if you'd like to support us monetarily, you can give us super thanks, super chat, super stickers, or go to the description box. There are links there you can click on, and you can help support us there. Don't forget to go to marlonmorale.com, where you can get 10% off your first purchase of all our luxury items. I promise you will not be disappointed. And if you want to take advantage of our miniature beard kit sale right now, click on the shop button below this video, where our mini beard kit is sandalwood scented beard oil, beard balm, beard wash. Sandalwood is clinically proven to help stimulate hair follicle growth. So if you're trying to grow that beard to its full potential, why not use the best product on the market? And with that being said, I leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.